Hey Fueled Up friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to prep tofu. It's a really simple way to prep it. As I prep it, all my recipes on here are going to be very few ingredients, very simple. So today we're going to use extra firm tofu. So we are going to take this is Nasoya brand. You can get any brand at the store. I would recommend getting organic with any type of soy product, and tofu is made out of soy. So you do want to try to get organic tofu if you can find it. If you like a firmer consistency, you're gonna want to get extra firm tofu, or you can get super firm and you won't have to do this step that I'm going to show you how to do. So the first step is, you can get out your steak knife. If you are eating plant-based or transitioning, this might be one of the only times that you're using your steak knife. So we're gonna actually take that and open the package. So you're gonna open it by cutting all four edges. You'll see a lot of liquid in there. You're going to wanna drain that liquid, so I'm going to go drain this. So I just dumped it into the sink, all the liquid that was in the box. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a kitchen towel. So you can take a nice kitchen towel that doesn't have lint, or you could wrap it in paper towels, but as I always say, it's more environmentally friendly to do it with the kitchen towel. And what you're gonna do is take that block of tofu and put it right onto that towel. And you're gonna wrap it up. So I'm just going to fold it up, make sure all sides are covered. I'm going to wrap up the block of tofu like this. What I'm gonna do after that is I'm going to take either a cutting board, place it on top, and put maybe some cans on there. You could put a weight. If you have heavy weights at home, you could put those on there to press it down. Or what I do is I take a heavy pan. This is a cast iron pan. I'm just gonna plop it right on top there. So what I'm doing here is allowing the tofu to drain. There's that liquid in the box when you buy the tofu that you need to drain out before you prepare the tofu, or else the tofu is not going to have any flavor. So tofu is just like a sponge. If you don't press and drain it, it's going to just be watery, right? You have to squeeze out that sponge, get all that liquid out, and then the tofu can absorb all those flavors that you're putting in. This one I'm going to put aside, and we're going to actually take a look at one that I've already pressed and drained over to the side. So this one I've already pressed and drained. The longer you do it, the better. I would recommend doing it for about 15 to 20 minutes. I always say you can always prep other food in the meantime. You can go for a walk, exercise, do laundry, do the dishes. So many things you can do while that tofu is draining. So we're gonna take a look at what it is like now, and you'll notice it will probably thin out a little bit. I probably could have pressed this a little bit longer, but it's going to be great. What we're going to do next is to chop it up into cubes. I like to chop it up into small cubes so that way they get really crispy as they cook. So what I'll do is I'm going to take the block, place it like this on the cutting board. Take a long knife, so notice that this is long and thin. That's the kind I like when I'm cutting my tofu. If it's shorter than the length of the block of tofu, it's really kind of a pain in the butt to cut. So it's a lot easier if you have a knife. Notice the knife is longer than the block of tofu. I'm gonna cut it twice this way, the long way. Place it this way. Hold it as you cut, so that way the pieces stay together. And then I'm just gonna flip the cutting board like this and chop it this way. And then you'll have your blocks of tofu, your cubes of tofu, and place all the cubes in that bowl. So just to show you, this is what the tofu will look like. They'll be in little cubes like this. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to season this. The way I season, I try to do salt-free as much as possible, and we can easily do that with dried herbs. Now, you do want to put dry ingredients on your tofu first, because if you marinate your tofu, it's going to be mushy. And if you don't mind that consistency, go for it. It will have a lot of flavor. But if you prefer a crunchier or crispier tofu, you're going to want to put a dry ingredient on it first. So that's why I'm going to show you this simple way to make it a little bit crunchier. and you can do this in the oven or you can do this in the air fryer. So it's up to your preference. The seasonings I have here today are all dry. If you really need oil, I would use an avocado spray oil. But the good thing about tofu is that it does have a little bit of a moisture to it. So that means that moisture is going to help all those dry ingredients stick to it so that we don't need any oil at all. The ingredients I like to use are nutritional yeast. I'm gonna put some of that on there. So I just sprinkle it into the bowl. So you can see that yellow coloring, that's from the nutritional yeast. I like to use garlic powder and onion powder. So here's my garlic powder. I use this a lot, so I get this big container of it. Always gotta have the garlic powder. Garlic on everything. Makes everything better. Keeps people away from you. So onion powder, also a great way to add flavor without adding any salt. Then I like to do kind of Italian seasonings. So I'm going to do dried thyme, basil, oregano, marjoram, pepper, and if you need more dry ingredient, you can always use ground flax meal or ground flax seed. This will add more omega-3s. And if you don't want to put all these different spices together and try to figure out which ones you like together, you can always get Mrs. Dash. Some of the ones that I have are garlic and herb. There's a table blend, or there's even a chicken flavored, and you can add that to your tofu if you want kind of a chicken flavor to it. Now we're going to stir this all together to coat the tofu pieces evenly. So tonight I'm actually making this as the protein in my meal, which is going to be cauliflower steaks, tofu, and I'm going to have a side of baked fries with it. If you find that the herbs aren't sticking and you need a wet ingredient to stick them on and you don't want to use oil, you can use liquid aminos. This is a nice little spray bottle version, so it's giving you a very minimal amount, but the benefit is that it has a savory flavor to it, and it will allow for those herbs and spices to stick better. So now what you want to do is take a cookie sheet and line it with parchment paper, or as I have here, you can line it with a piece of Silpat, and that's just going to be something that you can reuse, or you can just use parchment paper, up to you. That allows for you to not have to use that oil, and it prevents the mess. So I'm going to take this, try to spread it evenly onto the baking sheet. So you have it here before it's cooked. What you're going to do is place it in the oven, which will be preheated to 375 degrees, and you're going to cook it for about 30 minutes. It's up to you what the consistency you want it to be is, but I prefer it in the air fryer, so I will probably make this in the air fryer, and the difference there is that you can cut back about 10 minutes. So I have it set about 375 in my air fryer, and I cook it for about 22 minutes. So the reason you might want to use tofu is to reduce some of that animal protein. And some of the benefits of tofu are that it has omega-3 fats, which are essential fats that we need for our brain and heart health. Also, tofu has about 9 grams of protein. So you are going to get a significant amount of protein by having just 3 ounces of it mixed in with your meal. Some other things that you can do with tofu besides just cubing it, you can also maybe even bread it and make buffalo tofu. You can also make tofu regatta if you like to do stuffed shells or lasagna. You can make a tofu scramble. So kind of instead of using eggs, you can use tofu and scramble it. So it would be a different consistency. As we have here, it's firmer. The other way you would do that, or for maybe a tofu egg salad sandwich, you would take that bowl and mash the tofu up and add the other ingredients and spices to soak into the tofu and allow it to infuse into the tofu so that you can get a flavorful egg substitute. So I hope this helps. If you want to see what this looks like once it's done, check out my Instagram. This will be posted on my Instagram page @_food4fuel, or you can check out my Facebook. If you need some guidance with nutrition especially if you're trying to adopt a plant-based diet. I would highly recommend checking out my website, or you can contact me at foodforfueldietitian@gmail.com, and the 4 is the number 4. Let me know if you guys want to see any other specific videos for cooking, for information. I will be having a tempeh preparation video coming your way soon.